Our next presentation is from the Alzheimer's Drug Discovery Foundation on a project they call Access, a novel resource to optimize the use of CROs by academia and early-stage companies. Is Rachel Lane here in the room? Tremendous. So Rachel is going to share with us this project to optimize the use of CROs that has application not only in the Alzheimer's space, but across other CNS disorders and diseases and beyond. Thank you.
So my name is Rachel Lane. I'm the Assistant Director for Scientific Affairs at the Alzheimer's Drug Discovery Foundation. I just wanted to thank the organisers for inviting me to present today. And I'm going to be presenting a novel resource that we've been developing at the Foundation called ADDF Access, which is designed to optimise the use of contract research organisations, or CROs, for academia and early-stage companies. So just by way of a brief introduction to the ADDF, if you're not familiar with our organisation, so we provide funding to drug discovery and clinical development programs for Alzheimer's and related dementias in academia and in biotechnology companies. Our role is to take risk and to de-risk programs to be able to get interest from other parties within the industry. And we really bridge this valley of death of funding that exists between traditional government and philanthropy in early stage target discovery and validation, and later stage investment from venture capital and private equity, which is increasingly moving into clinical trial stage. So in a recent analysis of funding within the Alzheimer's space conducted by the International Alzheimer's Disease Research Portfolio, or IADRP, which was a collaboration between the NIA and the Alzheimer's Association, we can see that the Alzheimer's Drug Discovery Foundation here is one of the only organizations that purely funds translational research for Alzheimer's disease. And 100% of our research goes towards developing drugs, testing them in clinical trials, and also for the development of biomarkers. And our research portfolio is really made up of 3 core programs. This is our preclinical drug discovery innovation program, and we have a number of RFPs that fall within this preclinical space. And several of these are with several partner foundations where there's a common pathological mechanism across different disease areas. We'll partner to do a co-RFP together targeting that mechanism. Secondly is our program to accelerate clinical trials. And here we're supporting both novel clinical trials for novel therapeutics, but also clinical trials of repurposing agents or drugs that have been approved from a different indication in Alzheimer's disease patients. And thirdly is our biotechnology development program. And as I said, we fund both academic centers and biotechnology companies. And these are typically early-stage companies that oftentimes run on a virtual model. So in addition to providing funding for Alzheimer's drug discovery programs, we additionally provide a number of resources to the field. And these include several conferences a year. We regularly develop advisory panels and publish consensus pieces or white papers targeting unmet needs in the field. 2 examples would be one on blood-based biomarkers for Alzheimer's disease in collaboration with the Alzheimer's Association. The second one was to address the commercial challenges for repurposing for Alzheimer's disease in collaboration with the Michael J. Fox Foundation. Another resource, and a resource that I'm going to be focusing my presentation on today, is on the ADDF Access program. So we know there's a need for access to contract research organizations by academic scientists and by biotechnology companies conducting drug discovery programs. CROs play a critical role in providing that drug development or pharmaceutical expertise to programs being conducted in these environments. And there's a particular need in our field for access to companies that specifically provide assays and expertise relevant to the development of drugs for neurodegenerative disease and for CNS indications. So typically, while the pharmaceutical company has had well-defined methods for evaluating and managing contract research organizations, these haven't been as well developed in the academic space or within small biotechnology companies. And really, successful CRO partnerships have the ability to accelerate programs that are being conducted within academic labs. And they're really essential for the success of these programs and for successful partnering and in securing investment, as they really provide external validation and reproduction of the data, in addition to the pharmaceutical development expertise. So the mission of the ADDF Access Program is to accelerate these preclinical translational programs by providing a network of CROs and by optimizing their use. So the ADDF Access team consists of our leadership within the foundation, our executive director, Howard Phillips, and Diana Shinneman, and advisory board of consultants that we've been working very closely with in the development of this program, and they really comprise experts across the industry, from contract research organizations, from academia, biotech, and from the pharmaceutical industry. So our strategy with ADDF Access is to provide a virtual network of contract research organizations and drug discovery experts. And the new site will be, we had a beta site that was launched earlier in the summer, and we'll have a new redesigned site that will be going live at some point today, I've been assured. There's 4 core components of what this virtual network will look like, which is available through our website at www.alzdiscovery.org, and I'm happy to provide the URL later after the talk. So it provides a CRO marketplace that we've really tried to populate with CROs that have expertise within the CNS field. It will provide a resource center that provides strategic guidance on how to go about doing due diligence on a CRO, how to select the right CRO for your project, and how to manage the program effectively. And also to provide guidance on specific stages during the drug discovery and development process. It will provide access to a network of industry experts. And we also want to develop this as an online community to really facilitate collaboration across therapeutic areas within the CNS space. So I'm just going to go through each one of these in more detail. So in terms of the CRO marketplace, the CROs that are populated within this site have been selected based on reputation and have been recommended to us by word of mouth from our scientific network. Now, this isn't designed to be a preferred network, and we're not providing endorsement for any of the CROs within this network. What we are trying to do is to provide the tools for investigators to be able to go out and conduct the due diligence on these CROs themselves. And we are saying that we are conducting a certain level of due diligence on these companies, and this is to really understand core capabilities. CROs that are global are not necessarily experts in every single service that they provide. So we're trying to do a deep dive into these companies to try and tease out which are their core capabilities. And we're going to relay this information on the site, and this includes information on facilities and equipment, staff and technical capabilities, and particularly bringing out the expertise on and assays relevant to neurodegenerative disease and CNS indications. And with a number of CROs within this network, we've been working to negotiate discounted pricing on services for ADDF Access referred investigators. And I'll speak about this a little bit more in detail. So as we go into the CRO marketplace of the site, we try to make this intuitive for investigators who are not well versed in the drug discovery process. So you can search for CROs based on discovery and development stage, or on specific CRO services that they provide that span across these 2 stages. And we've tried to highlight that this is not a linear process, it's more of an iterative cycle. So once you go in, or you can search for CRO based on specific services using the search engine, which will prompt you to search for a term that the site recognizes. So say if we did a search for PK, we'll see a listing of CROs that provide those services, in addition to information on other services that CRO provides. You can see next to some of the CROs is a green $sign, and that will provide a link to information on discounts that are provided by that company to ADDF-referred investigators. Down the left-hand side, you can also see a navigation panel that allows you to search for either development stage, service category, to browse services, or also for location. Location can be very important when investigators are looking to choose a CRO if they need to conduct site visits or for material transfer. So now if we're going to the resource center. So the initial resources for this were developed from a 1-day advisory panel that we held earlier this year. And this was really focused on highlighting key considerations for academic investigators, contracting with CROs, and conducting drug discovery in that environment. One of the key things that came out of this panel actually was the need for project management. and the fact that this is really overlooked within some of the academic scientists that we're funding. And so in order for us to try and provide that to investigators, we've developed the access to experts, which I'll go into a little bit more in a minute. But for now, we've developed some resources on how to go about doing the due diligence process, about asking for historical control data, for looking into the technical capabilities of the staff, and looking into how often that CRO is conducting that specific service that you're looking to contract out. And these recommendations have stemmed from a white paper that we published in the summer in Nature Reviews Drug Discovery, entitled Optimizing the Use of CROs by Academia and Early-Stage Companies. We will be building out the Educational Resource Center to include webinars on specific stages of the drug discovery process, in collaboration with various CROs that are within the network. And we'll also provide a webcast of our annual Conference of Drug Discovery for Neurodegeneration meeting, which is a course focused on teaching researchers how to translate early-stage discovery programs into drug discovery programs. So finally, the access to experts in the community part of the site. So internally at the ADDF, we've been building a network of drug discovery experts across the field, and these are available to provide advice and guidance to investigators within our network on CRO selection, on experimental design and program design, and will be available to look over protocols that are provided by CROs, that can also provide project management to programs. And we hope that this will also provide an opportunity for interdisciplinary collaborations across the field. The community feature of the site, which is currently under development and we hope to launch over the next year, will provide a discussion forum for users to provide feedback on CRO performance or to discuss various CROs working in the field, to provide opinions on new trends in drug discovery, and we hope to be able to bring on experts monthly onto the site to answer specific questions that investigators might have on the drug discovery process. So our funding model for the ADDF Access program so far, we're happy to announce today that we have 2 foundation partners that are providing support for this early stage work of ADDF Access, with the Bright Focus Foundation and the Beyond Batten Disease Foundation. And they've helped us to provide funding for the initial startup costs and the program expansion over the next year. And moving forward, our model with this is with our partners, they'll be provided access to the Access to Experts and the community feature of the site, and the annual sponsorship to help support this program moving forward will be tiered based on the percentage of users coming in from each of these partner organizations. And we hope that the partner organizations will additionally provide strategic guidance on the development of this program moving forward. And we believe the benefits of the partner organizations is this access to a network of preclinical CROs working in the CNS space, and access to the discounted pricing on services that we've made available to the ADDF Access community. A couple of examples of how this has worked for us recently. In example 1, an academic investigator looking for medicinal chemistry services, we connected them with a CRO within the network and negotiated a 15% discount on pricing for those services. This resulted in a cost saving of about $16,500 for that one program, on a budget to us of about $180,000. Example 2 was for a biotechnology company that we were funding. We negotiated a 37% discount for experimental animals for this company. This resulted in a cost saving of almost $37,000 to the program, again of about $150,000. And we also will provide strategic guidance to investigators on CRO selection and management and program design through this expert of drug discovery, this network of drug discovery experts that we've been developing at the ADDF. We also believe that it will allow integration of scientific networks to really facilitate the development of interdisciplinary teams. We'll provide them with a seat on the ADDF Access Advisory Board of Consultants to help us develop this program moving forward, and obviously branding on the ADDF Access site. So just to recap our milestones for this project and where we're developing this project over the next year. So in the summer, we launched a beta site. We have about 200 registered members on the site so far. And today, we'll hopefully launch phase 1. We've developed this advisory board of consultants of experts to help us guide this program moving forward. And we have live now a CRO database of the 65 CROs. As this is developed into the phase 1 launch, there'll be access to about 135 CROs. And we've undertaken a certain level of due diligence on these companies to try and understand their core capabilities. And certain information provided by these CROs will be available on CRO-specific sites within the ADDF Access site. And we've negotiated discounted pricing for about 30% of these companies within the network so far, and we're working to expand this. So going forward over the next year, taking us into 2014, as I said today, hopefully we'll have phase 1 site launch. We're expanding the CRO database to about 135 CROs, expanding these educational resources, working with CROs within the network to provide webinars on certain stages of the drug discovery process. And we'll be expanding our board of consultants to help us strategically develop this moving forward. We hope for a full site launch, including the community feature, towards the end of 2014, or around this time next year. So, as I mentioned, we have a couple of foundation partnerships at the minute, including the Bright Focus Foundation and the Beyond Baton Disease Foundation, which have provided us with funding to support this initial stage of development of the ADDF Access program. But we're really looking forward to developing partnerships with other disease-specific foundations working in the CNS space to make the ADDF Access program available to wider communities within the field. We really think that facilitating the access to CROs and ensuring that they're used appropriately can really accelerate drug discovery programs being conducted within the academic environment. Another partnership that we developed and we recently launched was with the Harrington Discovery Institute or University Hospital System. And our goal is to provide resources to help investigators do the drug discovery programs within their labs. And to do this, the HDI initiative has allowed us to provide them with the development expertise to help move their program forward. And our partnership with the HDI, they'll provide these expertise in consulting and project management to selected ADDF-funded projects. We're excited about this partnership moving forward over the next year. So in summary, we're seeking other foundation or for-profit partners to help us support expansion of the ADDF Access site over the next year. And this provides a searchable database of preclinical CROs working in the CNS space. We'll provide strategic guidance to investigators on how to go about selecting the most appropriate CRO for the projects. And we hope that it will facilitate the formation of interdisciplinary teams. Ultimately, we believe that efficient use of CROs really does save time and resources to these programs and add value. And they're essential for generating interest from later stage investors or pharmaceutical partners through this external validation of data. And thank you for your attention, and I'll take any questions. Yes.
So the agreements that you discussed up to now, first of all, this is amazing. But the agreements you discussed up to now, how limited are they to Alzheimer as a disease focus? So the CRO reduction in prices, how can that be expanded potentially to other CNS?
Well, I think they're not generally specific to Alzheimer's disease. They're valid across the CNS space or beyond that to other indications. A lot of the relationships we've developed for general medicine or chemistry services, some of the animal models, yes, are maybe specific to neurodegeneration. Some of them are with in vitro tox companies, ADME companies. So I think they're pretty, diverse across the area.
This is a much-needed resource. Any thought toward expanding it toward the clinical stage CROs?
Yes. So while we have kept our focus to preclinical initially because that's where the majority of our funding is going, but we are expanding into the clinical phase with this program. We do fund about 30% of our portfolio is clinical trials, so we are expanding into the clinical CROs. And a lot of the CROs that are performing phase 1 studies are also doing the IND enabling stage as well. So there's crossover there.
Rachel, this is an excellent project. Are you thinking about getting feedback from the customers as they use these CROs, a bit like eBay or something?
Yes, exactly, yes. Actually, I should have mentioned on the site, there is a leave feedback form that will be linked, is at the bottom of the page, and will also be linked through the community feature to leave feedback to us on CRO performance and that can be kept confidential, or we can also make that available through the community feature, which will be an online discussion board to allow you to discuss certain aspects of your project or experience with a CRO.
How much does this project cost you? How much does this project cost you, or how much money have you allocated to this project already? I'm just interested in the scope.
So far, I think we've probably, allocated around to the six-figure stage, which includes staff time and resources. Over the next year, our projected budget to get this fully launched and developed will be about $250,000. We're working towards developing funding for that, and we're really interested in finding partners to help us achieve that.
So you mentioned the use of consultants to support project management, et cetera. Are you funding that, or does the academic need to also pay those individuals for that support? And then I guess kind of the follow-on question, how are you tackling, CRO is in my opinion, and I work for a CRO, is a horrible term because it covers such a broad range of discovery to clinical, hands, minds, et cetera. It's just a broad term. So how do you recommend, the use of an integrated CRO, full service versus kind of standalone services as well?
Okay, so if I remember your first question. So paying for consultants and project managers. So for ADDF supported programs, we will pay for consultants and project managers out of the ADDF access budget. We think that's really critical to driving these programs forward. For other programs, we have several models how this will work. Either it will be the responsibility of the investigator to pay for the consultant costs, although saying that many of the consultants within our network have offered to provide a certain level of complementary consulting up front. I forget what I was going to say. It would be available through the partner organizations as well. To your second question, how do you decide about CROs that are global or full service versus niche? I mean, that's really up to the independent project, we think. I mean, there are certain projects that really, value those certain niche services that smaller CROs can provide. But then you have to weigh up the cost of the project management time with managing like 4 or 5 CROs on a project versus using a more global CRO. I think we've highlighted both sides of the argument through the white paper that we published and through some of the resources. And I think that's a discussion we're willing to have with the investigator, but it's ultimately their decision on, which way they want to go. Okay. Any more questions?